Hello all, welcome to the Lunar Sea Spire Cartoon Fan Podcast. This is episode 328, and today is our 2020 Christmas special, where we'll talk about our favorite cartoon Christmas specials. I'm GC13.
I'm David.
It's me, your boy, Ken.
Oh!
Editing, etc. Whatever.
We have Ken back again.
Yeah, I'm here occasionally, biannually it seems this year.
A special Christmas treat.
Yeah, so we're gonna dig into our favorite Christmas specials today. I might have slightly framed it as a debate, but it's on the Discord, but I don't think it's actually a debate, just celebrating our favorites and why we think they're our favorites. Not actually a contest of Christmas carols.
Besides, David, if this were a contest, I'm pretty sure your episode would win. What episode did you have?
Well, so I have a runner-up and a success. So I did want to shout out Holly Jolly Secrets of Adventure Time. I have some very nice things to say about it in comparison, or to sort of highlight how different Christmas specials can do different things. So Holly Jolly Secrets, really dear to my heart from Adventure Time, but it's not as timeless as my favorite, which is Zim's, Invader Zim's, the most horrible Xmas ever, which is a truly wonderful classic tale that has all the hallmarks you need for a Christmas special. It has the framed story told by a psychopathic mechanic snowman, and we even have new characters introduced, Minnie Moose, or maybe he's been there the entire time, and we get every important character involved in some weird way, including the fact that Professor Membrane hates Santa and has been building up an anti-Santa arsenal for his entire life, ever since he was gifted infinite socks as a child. It's really just the perfect little weird Christmas special, and it weirdly makes sense in Zim's world. Everything is great about it.
I love that pick.
I would have... there's a good chance I would have had to pick Invader Zim's Christmas special had it not already been taken, but I am very, very happy to be representing 3 Gems and a Baby from Steven Universe today.
Was that a Christmas episode?
I mean, you have the 3 wise gems come to bring gifts to baby Steven, so it's a very traditional Christmas episode, not a Santa Christmas episode.
I'll take it.
I do love 3 Gems and a Baby because Steven Universe explicitly doesn't have holidays. There's none in their world, which I think in part, I had seen a roundtable video discuss it once, talk about how that concept may have come from the desire to prevent the network from asking them to do specials, which clearly still didn't entirely work because they had like their Thanksgiving special and stuff, but yeah, Steven Universe inadvertently had sort of 2 holiday specials. 3 Gems and a Baby was definitely one, and I also count Winter Forecast just because of how cozy it is, and it has the coziest final scene staring out into snow I've ever seen. But yes, the 3 Gems and a Baby is much more, we get an amazing Greg solo song, we get Steven as a babby, and we get, his gem almost being ripped out, and his entire identity question.
Baby Amethyst.
Yeah, and Baby Amethyst.
Yeah, it's a really good episode. Really tender, really sweet. I enjoy it a lot. I also appreciate you mentioning Winter Forecast, because that's a very underrated episode, in my opinion. One of my favorite, and I think maybe the first thing we covered on this podcast, or maybe one of the first things.
It might have been the...
Yeah. So, great choice. Okay. So I guess it's me. I had like a pretty long list, not that we had to discuss them all at length. I guess for one, I'll just mention, this isn't even like a Christmas thing, so I'm being a bit contrarian here, but I always really appreciated that the Rugrats had kind of varied holiday specials. So they had like this Hanukkah special, came out in like the mid-90s, which to this day is like probably, and this is probably sad, but like the most extensive explanation of Hanukkah that I've gotten, just because, it's not a thing that anyone has ever really talked about around me. So I really appreciated that. It's kind of a weird thing. Nickelodeon, did this a lot. As Told by Ginger also had kind of a Hanukkah-ish special, and I think at least 1 or 2 of their other shows did. I always appreciated the Jewish representation on that network, because you don't really see that anywhere else.
The Rugrats Hanukkah special was very, very good, and I did appreciate the telling of the holiday and the way they worked it in, no less, giving a a rivalry between the adult characters.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Were there
The way they did that.
Were there two Rugrats Hanukkah specials? Because I remember one where they were trapped in the house and they were snowed
There's
in.
a Passover one.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
they had two Jewish holidays, which is amazing. And you were talking about that like 90s Nick era. That's like the only time there seemingly was this sort of, at least pervasive for the one network, representation. And then it just kind of went away, which is, I don't know, is that sad? Is it not? I feel like the modern cartoon, if it does do a holiday special, is very removed from the like actual holiday perhaps, or at least the like religious implications. So it's very interesting for Rugrats to be the one, especially because Rugrats is just so, it has either incredibly tender moments like, oh, let's examine Chucky's mom's death, or let's have them stuffing stuff in their diapers and they are only exclusively doing potty humor, or we're back with, oh god, I just forgot his name's not Steve, the famous pudding scene, which is both then I guess a combination
of Stu.
Yes.
I'm not
Stu. Rugrats is such an enigma for that it somehow did both but like so much more dramatic compared to a show like Steven Universe, where it had its dramatic highs and lows and emotional moments, but something about Rugrats, you just wouldn't expect an emotional core to be there. Like it shouldn't be, but it is.
Yeah, because so much of the material is, as like someone my age now, for maybe I shouldn't be criticizing it for this, but it's like, it's bad. It's for like very small children. And then it like really elevates. It's like very uneven in quality, I would say.
Right, like so uneven. Is it there to reach out to the parents that are trapped watching it? Like it has more of that vibe perhaps, or maybe it's just meant to impart these lessons that you're meant to think about later. Like, hey, I used to watch the show and laugh at all the boogers and poop smearing, and now I, respect this little hidden gem part of it, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's weird, but I appreciate the effort they put into it, and like a lot of that stuff really stands out, so it's great. Not to like stay on this particular thing too long, but another thing I happened to notice about this, just rewatching a little bit of it for this, like the Tommy's grandparents, they are like Jewish caricatures, which is obviously like done with love. The creators of the show were Jewish, or at least 2 out of 3 of them, maybe all of them. But I read on the Wikipedia page that the Anti-Defamation League did like make a statement about this. They thought it was like kind of inappropriate, which is funny because that really stands out to me like now. But like as a kid, obviously you're not thinking about that kind of stuff. And I also want to mention the Rugrats Kwanzaa special. Same kind of thing. They're just doing these various holidays. That's possibly the only time I've ever seen Kwanzaa even mentioned in a cartoon in like a way that wasn't making it the butt of a joke. And yeah, that's probably also to this day the only reason I have any like idea what Kwanzaa is about. So anyway, shout out to Rugrats for introducing people to all of these things.
Hey, I'm all in favor of shouting out to Rugrats. On our Summer Camp Island episode we just did, I had to mention Boris. Although I think that was a home movies episode, now that I think about it, not a Vacation Slides episode. But the point still stands that you don't make people watch Vacation Slides, not if they're your friend.
On the topic of introducing new holidays as well, so Zim introduced us to the platypus, the Easter platypus, at the very end of its Christmas special. That's sort of how it resolves, and apparently the Easter platypus hands out shrimp. It was just delightful. I like the ridiculous, reality.
You do understand that the implication is that Zim totally made that up on the spot, right?
It's a big question mark with the humans of Earth. They are so barely intelligent in that universe. So like, could they have that tradition? I mean, the thing is, they immediately bought into it and ate the shrimp. So I don't know. Is it a bastardization of Easter in their world, or is it an exact representation of Easter in their world? I'm gonna go with an exact representation. I'd believe it.
I'm going to say it's a Zim-level understanding of Easter. That is to say, no understanding whatsoever.
He captured the Santa spirit perfectly, though. I mean, he modified alien tech to...
He programmed his suit to capture the Santa spirit.
Yeah, too effectively, in classic Zim fashion.
Yeah, why is he so amazing?
Sorry, just interjecting my Zim thoughts, and I will continue to try to do so in the most disruptive way possible.
Now, with 3 Gems and a Baby, every episode that I rewatch, I have to catch a new detail, and this time I really appreciated Pearl not wanting tea from Greg in the past, whereas she is happily accepting tea now. She's grown and she's changed, which is what the episode was about.
Oh, that's nice.
Did she drink the tea in the present, though?
She accepts it. That's the important
Right.
part.
I'm like...
Amethyst eats the tea bag.
She doesn't try drinking until the pink-haired girl, and then she doesn't actually eat until...
She has to impress Not Rose.
Right, and then she finally has to, eat in the very, very final episode, or final epilogue episode, which is amazing.
I do think that drinking would be something that would be much easier for Pearl, whereas food is much more mechanically involved. Drinking can be just as simple as moving liquid from one place to another.
Well, it's easy for her because she's so thirsty.
If you will.
Yes!
You try being such a salt factory and not being the little thirsty, okay?
Fair.
I mean, the salt from that dictionary gift she gave. Like, obviously, it's the clearest gift for a creature not yet able to communicate.
That was a great little tradition when you said that it was the three wise men. Like, the gifts for Steven, his razor... I forget, that's Garnet's gift.
Yeah, Amethyst gives him the adult diapers, and Pearl gives the dictionary.
Yeah, Amethyst coming in with the only actually useful gift. Such a good Earthling.
Well, not actually useful, but would have been
useful.
useful.
How big are adult diapers? I feel like Greg wasn't in a financial position in that time where he could have been too picky about the diapers.
I just don't know. I just don't think it'll work. I think there is a minor size discrepancy.
Ken's list. Let's go more.
Did no one else have anything else? You just forget those.
Oh no, I have more
asking.
thoughts, and I also have more specials. I have Hey Arnold's Christmas special. I also have a lot of thoughts about Holly Jolly Secrets, which I only briefly shouted out.
Okay, let's not go crazy, David. Let's not go crazy.
I do have some things to say about Holly Jolly Secrets as my runner-up, if we get there, if we want to get there.
Okay, I mean we can just blitz through things. I'm glad you mentioned Hey Arnold because that was going to be the next one I mentioned. I was vaguely surprised that you didn't bring that. Bring that up initially.
So okay, here is my thoughts on it. It's a good episode. It is. I actually forget the name of it.
Arnold's Christmas, I believe.
Yes, very good original name for the episode. So he finds, sure. I mean, the plot is basically that his neighbor, Mr. Wynn's daughter, has been missing, essentially, or he didn't know because he gave her up from, I guess, Vietnam? Back in the
Vietnam War, yeah.
Right.
Wynn, yeah, that would be
yeah,
Vietnam.
And it was... It's the perfect encapsulation of what Hey Arnold is. Like, that we get these little slices of life, and it doesn't hold back if there's, something deeply personal or deeply scarring. So, we get this backstory, and then we get Arnold's earnestness and determination and, sweetness to, like, find her and track her down in a database, and we get lovely moments with this... I don't want to call him... he's not jaded, but he definitely is uninterested in Arnold's mission until, Arnold's able to make a personal connection. It's just overall a very sweet thing, and it's a little silly that it does end up with him finding, his daughter, but it would have been a very bleak episode otherwise if they had to, never find her. So it's I guess, Hey Arnold-esque in that there is a positive ending that can come out of it, as opposed to, having to, like, deal with the reality of...
Sure, I mean, that would be awful. And Arnold isn't even the one that finds him. It's Helga who is trying to find Arnold the perfect Christmas present. Arnold just believes it's a Christmas miracle that they're reunited because Helga does not tell him that she was involved. And it's and then Helga's side story is also extremely sweet. And then the moment that the two are reunited at the end, Mr. Wynn and his daughter, is just extremely touching. It's really beautiful. I really loved it. It's definitely one of my favorites.
I forgot about the Helga part. That's, like, so key to that story.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I tried to write a criteria of what I want out of a Christmas special. So I think that the Hey Arnold story is more traditional. I think it's not very traditional for kids TV just because of the level of seriousness or the gravity of the situation, but it's otherwise.
But it's about the family and friendship, honesty, values.
It's much more traditional in that sense. It's Christmas and family. Whereas Zim's is just so ridiculous. Maybe it's much more of a traditional Zim episode, but it's a very untraditional Christmas episode. And the song the song is what honestly put it at the top for me, because
That's fair.
you have to have a sing-along, and I also had on my list, just with the song and also because I was reminded of it recently, it's technically a cartoon or stop motion, but Abed's
Oh, yeah, from Community.
Uncontrollable Christmas, Abed's something Christmas, was an amazing time. Community had explored so many different visual styles, but having a good traditional claymation episode, but then having it center around Abed actually dealing with a delusion the whole time is just brilliant, and also deeply meaningful, and compared to any of the other Christmas specials we talk so far, actually really delves into deconstructing Christmas and rebuilding a new meaning for it, for our like very disparate cast who all have different beliefs.
Sure. Yeah.
So that is, if that counts as a cartoon special, I don't know, that one holds a very special place, and it's very rewatchable. So like one of my key criteria is, would you actually watch it every year? Like the Hey Arnold one is a sweet story, but it doesn't have that like as timeless quality to me, or that I would want to watch it again, because it's like, that his daughter gets found and it's sweet, but like Zim, it's goofy and I can watch the song over and over. Abed's Christmas is, because it's just so visually interesting, I could probably watch it every year.
Yeah, it makes sense. And Community is just in general a very sharp show with kind of dense joke writing, so it just makes it very easy to rewatch. So yeah, I think that checks out. I appreciate your criteria. I'll also mention, because the stop motion in that episode is parodying another thing that's on my list, those old Rankin and Bass specials they show on TV to this day, from like the 60s and 70s. When I saw those as a little kid, they were just really cool. They show like the origin of Santa Claus and like his epic journey to become the man he is today, and kind of like I don't even know what you'd call it, but like Heat Miser and Mr. Cold, Mr. Snow.
Mr.
Snow.
I'm Mr. Heat Miser. Now we only have to remember the second part of the song. I always do.
Yeah. I don't remember it either, but yeah, those things were delightful and very epic to me. I like your first taste of lore as a kid.
Yes.
I really appreciated the lore in those. It was great. And also like the other ones they did that weren't like as cool, I guess, like Rudolph and like the little drummer boy. They had like 20 of these things, but they were all good. But the Santa ones were definitely my favorite.
Well, so I'm glad you said lore, because that was another important criterion for me, is that good Christmas specials add something new to the holiday tradition or add to the holiday lore. And that's like what is perfect about those old claymation specials, is that you were being told this like new pieces of Christmas, that tradition just continued. I don't know if they established that. I guess really all like secular holiday stories have been building since Coca-Cola made it up like 100 years ago or whatever. Fair, yeah. But it's fun, and so that's where both Zim and Holly Jolly Secrets do this, where they just throw in something new. It could be ridiculous, like the platypus, Easter platypus, or like with Holly Jolly Secrets, they frame learning about Ice King and watching the videos as a thing that they started doing annually. And as the episode becomes more progressively cozy and everyone's inexplicably wearing Christmas sweaters and it's snowing, but only because Ice King's around, like they then have it end with it's a strange episode, because it starts with like this fancy Christmas title and then it doesn't look Christmassy at all, but then the last 5 minutes become Christmassy inexplicably around this like horrible tragic thing that gets revealed about Simon Petrikov. So it's fun, but then they introduce into at least Adventure Time's story, not like the general secular holiday story, that that's now a tradition where they empathize with Ice King once a year. And I think that's like a very sweet, if not sad, detail, but in line with the tradition of establishing traditions, which in Adventure Time's world, all those traditions got erased if they were there, by a giant bomb. So
that's an extremely strong pick. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you mentioned it, because I forgot that that piece of lore was revealed in a Christmas episode. That's really cool.
Well, so that's the other thing, is it's amazing when, so like thinking about, again, the Community special and thinking about Zim, and Holly Jolly Secrets, they all use their show to the max to drive their version of a holiday story. So they don't just tell a traditional holiday story, but they do it in a frame that takes maximum advantage of what they've established so far. So they don't, you could have in Adventure Time, they could have fought like a snowman made by the Ice King or something, or inexplicably a Santa hat made by Princess Bubblegum comes to life. I don't know. But it could have been just a more generally silly episode, but they really went for something different. And, even Zim during its Christmas special was having Dib work on Tack's ship, and like Zim also had a plan that was actually gonna work for once, which does occasionally happen in the show. Except he does Zim it up by the end. He Britas it, but
I mean, Gaz could have taken care of the situation even if the Santa suit didn't.
Well, yeah, and also the just framing of, like, it does have a snowman, but it's 2 million years in the future, and also the Santa thing that Zim created now, attacks Earth once a year. So, like, it's great that they do that. And, even Hey Arnold and Rugrats, right, did it in their smaller ways where they took advantage of their characters. But I think that's a smart thing to do.
Now, you guys all have multiple episodes, and I've been sitting here thinking, the first Fairly Oddparents Christmas episode was actually pretty good.
It's on my list, GC. It's on my list.
It's on your list. Well, let's talk about that. I like not only the everyone ganging up on Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Or was that the second one? They're all blurring together.
That's the
but
first
I
one,
do
think.
love the... Okay, so yeah, that I'm not conflating two episodes. It is one. But I do like how at the end the kids all get together, not only to protect Santa Claus, but also to fix the situation by wishing that Christmas would go back to normal.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's nice.
Wait.
Back when Timmy brought people together rather than forced them apart.
I'm remembering only vague details of that episode. Like, was Santa somehow a greedy businessman at some point in there?
Well, that's when he's not getting all the magical energy from the fairies. He's a businessman. He becomes jolly when the fairies all channel their energy into him.
Okay, and so that's something fairies have to do annually. So that's that lore piece that connects the fairies to...
Yep. Oh, no, that's not even the best piece of lore. The best piece of lore is that Timmy messed things up so bad that they had to add a new rule that you can't extend the length of Christmas anymore.
Oh, that's right, because that's what drains their energy. He's like, we should just do this every day.
I also just think it's very delightful to see all the other holidays and they're like bitter and jealous of Christmas. And at the end, the lesson they have to learn to accept is that their holidays are in fact inferior to Christmas, and they just have to deal with it. And that's like the moral of the story.
It's actually crazy that they'd also established all those characters in advance. Like, we already had... Well, I guess the Tooth Fairy isn't a holiday, but they had all those mythical creatures. We already had the Easter Bunny. We already had Cupid.
The April Fool's.
Yeah, we already had the April Fool's Jester. So it's, like, amazing that they had all those characters ready for that special.
Long-term storytelling, baby. Yeah, I get that. That's another one. A cartoon episode about bringing people together, just like 3 gems and a baby. The gems... do straight up kidnap Steven, but when they realize what he really is, they all have to just resolve this is Steven's show, literally and figuratively. And they really come together for him over the years.
That also closes the arc on that's the last like story of the past we see with Greg. I really enjoyed how Steven Universe presented us, Greg and Rose's meeting, and then we kept going in order with those episodes of the past, and that's the moment where it ends, which is right after Steven's birth. It was just a really... I mean, it's honestly one of the most interesting and powerful arcs in Steven Universe that we see. Those episodes of the past, Greg and Rose's relationship is incredibly interesting, but then seeing the way that it transforms into a completely different thing. Like, there's now Steven, and he is uniting this group that wouldn't otherwise be together except for his mom and now him, and they have to completely learn some other new way of being.
Basically, yeah, that's how it was with Rose. She united a whole bunch of disparate gems together who believed in a cause, and that's what Steven ended up doing again.
Yeah.
Except he brought humans into the mix.
Okay, so this one isn't necessarily good, but I think it is notable. Grandpa got run over by a reindeer. So that came out in 2000. Apparently this was released on video first. It's not an episode, but it is a animated Christmas special. It was not a feature-length movie. So I think it counts here. It's not something that I thought was necessarily good, even seeing that as a kid for the first time. I thought it was like kind of hokey and like weird in like a way that I would have to like rewatch in full to be able to like accurately articulate. But I don't know, it's just had like this real longevity, which is, I mean, looking back and thinking how I reacted to it when I first saw it, if you told me that like people would still be talking about this and it would still be airing on television yearly 20 years from the time it aired, I think I'd be quite shocked by that. It was by no means something that seems like a holiday classic, and I don't know if people really recognize it as a holiday classic right now, but I mean, it really is. Even if no one like loves it, it's still around and gets played every year. So yeah, it's worth mentioning, I guess. Yeah,
that's the perk of charging very, very low rates for going
right.
on
I feel like
television.
that's the animated equivalent of how It's a Wonderful Life, right? Like it got to air because it was basically super cheap or even free for the networks to use. And I'm pretty sure my introduction to Grandma Got Run Over by Reindeer was on probably ABC Family, right? They had the rights to the claymation specials, if I remember correctly, as a kid. And so they had their like 25 days.
On WB first, but they also it may have been also on ABC Family.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I'm thinking like the 25 Days of Christmas, and
right.
It just at that point was placed next to or juxtaposition by all these other classics. So to me as a kid, I thought, oh, this is just another one of the classic ones. And so, I mean, I remember watching that one multiple times. I remember watching Grandma's Gonna Sue the Pants Off Santa. I still see that one like tweeted
classic.
About. And
yeah, classic song.
It's just so weird that somebody heard the song and heard the Grandma Got Run Over by Reindeer song and thought, oh, the next logical step is a lawsuit. I'm going to make an animated movie about that and get a budget.
I mean, it is a funny idea. I like it.
Yeah.
Grandma's going to sue the pants off of Santa. I laughed as a kid. I didn't even really like the movie on the whole, but that part was fun. I really appreciate that they just call that lady Cousin Mel the entire time. They don't know whose cousin she is. That's still funny. Someone on Twitter said their headcanon was that her first name was just Cousin, which I appreciate.
Right, just like Arnold's last name. It was hiding under us the whole time. Wait, so what actually happens to Santa in the end, though? Because I don't remember that. Like,
I don't remember at all either.
It's almost like I've always watched the first half of it and never made it to the end. But I don't know why, because it's colorful enough. It would have been interesting enough to watch. I mean, I'm assuming at some point there's a courtroom drama, but I'm not remembering the part where Santa's just in a courtroom, because that has to be a scene in that movie, right? And then
yeah, that happens. As far as I recall, that does happen.
But wouldn't that be like the end of the movie? I don't know how. Or it could be like a B movie arc where it happens like halfway through and then he loses and then all the magic leaves from the world and then Santa has to go pollinate all the flowers again in order for the world to be restored. I don't know. But
is that a reference to something?
No, that's the B movie's plot. The bees,
I see. Okay,
the bees get sued in the middle and then they lose and then apparently they have the pollen makes all the flowers die, because that's what we should teach kids, that pollen keeps flowers alive.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't remember how it ended. I just remember this also had like a pretty sizable, like, I don't want to like overstate that, but they had commercials for it leading up to its like initial airing on television, which is why I like watched it the first time it aired. Possibly with my family. This was too long ago. I don't remember the circumstances. But yeah, just a strange thing to have in our like cultural pantheon at the moment. So I just wanted to mention that.
I mean, that's probably the last like major even Christmas animated film that did rise to the top. Like you said, 2000. I can't even think of. I mean, there's been animated movies that like the Jack Frost and the other legendary creatures movie that came out.
Rise of the Guardians.
Rise of the Guardians. Well, yeah.
That was
I never
pretty
saw
good.
it, but it did look like it. I remember seeing that it actually got surprisingly high praise.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
You have to check it out. It just seems like weird, like edgelord Santa is what it looks
Right.
like. I'm sure it's not that, but
Great. Now I have to watch that one again. It's been ages.
Yeah, so I just have like two more things I'll quickly mention. The SpongeBob Christmas thing. Most notable just because it was the first appearance of Patchy the Pirate, which is neat, I guess.
Whoa.
A character I enjoy, so there's that.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that was his first appearance. That special is amazing. Mr. Krabs' falsetto. Singing is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really great. That song is catchy. I was listening to that the other day. It's nice. Oh, and then Squidward, his little moral at the end,
yes.
where he gives away all his stuff to, keep the spirit of Santa alive, keep the faith alive.
Squidward
I
has yet
that.
another face turn that he gets, torn apart from at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Status quo rules, baby.
And then that's it for my list. I'm sure there was like a bunch of stuff I didn't put down intentionally, but I didn't want to take up too much time. And then so the only other thing I had was maybe to put you guys on the spot. If you don't have an answer to this, because I don't, so don't feel bad or anything. But if you have a Christmas Carol rendition, like the Flintstones version or whatever, if anything like stands out to you.
Oh. I mean, you got to go with the classic Mickey Mouse, right?
I've never seen that one.
Like, is there any other answer?
I haven't seen it though, but yeah, I've heard it's really good.
Like that is the version, the canonical version of A Christmas Carol for me.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. Oh, also there were a bunch of like really old Hanna-Barbera specials. They do this for a bunch of holidays. Like the Halloween ones always stand out for me, like the Scooby-Doo ones, or when there's like this like pantheon of monsters they have together and stuff. But I remember there's one, and I didn't look this up ahead of time, where they have like all the Hanna-Barbera characters come together at some like Christmas resort, and I don't remember what the plot is, but I do remember as a very small kid they played that on Cartoon Network, and I liked it a lot. And yeah, I'll stop talking now.
So no, I have a good answer, but it's actually not quite holiday themed because not A Christmas Carol, but It's a Wonderful Life, which we brought up as, one of the timeless and kind of accidental holiday specials that appeared only because it was super cheap for networks to air back in the day. Fairly Odd Parents did its own version of that when Timmy wished that he didn't exist, and then he found out that actually he shouldn't have, which was terrible and not in any spirit of that movie.
Wasn't it all a ruse anyway?
Okay, yeah, it definitely didn't end with that Timmy shouldn't exist, but he definitely did see that people's lives were better. I don't remember whose life was worse. Like, was it Cosmo and Wanda's life that was worse? Were his parents actually worse off? Because his parents were like filthy stinking rich or something, and Denzel wasn't, he was healthy. Everyone was better off. So I don't remember how that one ended. I only remember the beginning part, which as a kid, learning that Timmy, what if you stopped at the commercial break? You'd have only learned that some kids, people's lives would be better if they didn't exist. What kind of lesson is that?
That is hilarious.
Oh gosh.
I think Rugrats did the It's a Wonderful Life much more positively.
Fairly Odd Parents is like quite cynical for how much of an overt Christian I think Butch Hartman is. It's a funny contrast to me, but whatever.
When I learned that, I was very surprised just from the lineage of shows, like a Ghost Boy kid with very religion defying fairy in his life. It's very interesting, but
yeah.
So anyway, yeah, there is a bit of a lack. Although maybe that just shows that people are willing to be more creative. I don't know. But I just can't think of any recent parodies or plays on A Christmas Carol or even really anything else. But maybe that's a positive thing, that cartoons are just kind of doing their own thing. Because it's definitely easier to make a Christmas special. And, I'm sure if Steven Universe hadn't said there are no holidays in this universe, the Cartoon Network might not have pushed really hard to have a musical Christmas special that had some kind of parody in it in Steven Universe, but who knows?
Would have been good.
The gems of Christmas past, present, and future. Anyway, guys, we're hoping you're all having a very Merry Christmas. We'll be back on Tuesday at our regular time, back with more Summer Camp Island. Join us next week. Until then, I'm GC13.
Hey, listen, look at me. Okay, so on iTunes, LSS has had 98 reviews for like 5 years. Just get us over 100, okay? Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'm Ken.
So, ditto for that. Please fulfill our Christmas wishes. Merry Christmas all, and happy holidays.
Later, everybody.